If you're making music on an iPad but you're still tapping the screen for everything, you're wasting time. A keyboard and a trackpad can completely change how you produce, mix, and perform, unlocking some pro features and making your iPad feel like a pro music workstation. Now, this video is not sponsored by either of these companies, but I have recently bought these. You have the ESR Magnetic Keyboard Case 360 from their Rebound series and the Logitech Combo Touch. And I've been using both of them for about a week each on my M4 iPad Pro. And in this video, I'm going to show you 5 reasons why adding a keyboard and a trackpad to an iPad as a musician can supercharge your workflow and help you make music faster. And at the end of the video, I'll show you which one I'm going to keep, and one of them is getting returned. Hi, my name is JP, welcome to the channel. If you've never been here before, we talk about live streaming, live looping, making music for the modern musician, and tools that you need to do that. So if that's something that interests you, have a look around the channel, click subscribe, and then you'll know when the next video is out. Now, as I said before, neither of these companies are sponsoring the video. I bought these with my own money. However, if you are making music with your iPad and you want to release it, then you need to check out today's sponsor, which is DistroKid. DistroKid is a music distribution company. So if you want to put your music on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, Tidal, Pandora, Deezer, iHeartRadio, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, even Snapchat, then you need a music distribution company. You need to give your music to them and they can push it out to all the online stores and musical streaming sites around the world, of which there are about 170 at the moment. And this is where DistroKid comes in and they can help you. For less than the cost of about 5 or 6 coffees a year, you can release as much music as you want to, starting at $22.99. And we've got a link in the description box. In fact, it's that link that's just come up on screen, and that'll give you 7% off no matter which tier you choose. Now, I said which tier you choose because it starts at $22.99. There's also a Musicians Plus tier. That's the one I'm on, which is $39.99. That gives you 2 artists. So I've got me as John Paul, me and my mate Greg are Tokyo Wasteland. But more importantly, you can schedule the date of the release. There's also an ultimate tier if you want to go into things like labels or have multiple artists and you've got loads of different outfits. And there's some amazing tools bundled into DistroKid, even when you join from the very base tier, which includes things like splits, promo cards, the hyperfollow page, which I always harp on about because I think it's brilliant, and loads more. So go and check out the link in the description box, go and sign up to DistroKid and release as much music as you want to, and it really is as much as you want to. For 2025, and now actually bleeding into 2026. Thank you very much to DistroKid for sponsoring this video. Let's get into these two, why you need a keyboard and a trackpad as a musician. I use my iPad for lots of different reasons. I use it for GarageBand, for Logic Pro, I use it for Loopy Pro, I use it for AUM, I use it for Audio Kit Pros, loads of different synthesizers. So an iPad is a fantastic tool for this. I use it for lots of different reasons, but a typing keyboard and a trackpad is something that's fundamental and will speed up your workflow. The first one is actually faster DAW integration. There's loads of shortcuts on an iPad, and there's loads of shortcuts that are moved over from Mac to iPad as well, and there's universal ones. So for example, holding down Command and then pressing a certain key can unlock loads of different things. Something simple as cut, copy and paste. So that's Command X, Command C and Command V. If you're grabbing a section of music and you actually want to copy that, maybe you've got a verse and you want to copy that over to another section on your digital audio workstation, you can go Command C, Command V. It's actually much easier than trying to hold down and drag your finger across and try and highlight what you need. Alternatively, you can do this while tapping the trackpad. And instead of putting smudges across your screen, you can use the trackpad to move across the timeline, zoom into waveforms, and even adjust automation points really smoothly as well. The second one is MIDI control and key commands. You can quickly quantize, duplicate, delete or mute MIDI notes with keyboard shortcuts. And with the trackpad, it means you've got greater accuracy for dragging MIDI notes with precision, resizing clips and adjusting velocities to pinpoint accuracy. With having a cursor on the screen, it's actually easier than having your finger on the screen and you can't see underneath it. The natural cursor on an iPad is translucent, so you can see through it and you can make accurate decisions. The third reason is just typing. If you're writing notes, you're writing lyrics, typing on the screen, it's okay. It's actually a good experience, but a better experience is actually having a dedicated keyboard. Right from organizing set lists to renaming tracks to renaming files in the Files app through to writing lyrics quickly, we're all very familiar with a computer keyboard, and that's no different on an iPad when you've got a keyboard attached to it. Also, when the keyboard's on the screen, Things like shortcuts don't really work. There is no command button there. They've changed the keyboard layout on the screen because you don't need it. But there's some fantastic shortcuts, including just holding down command. When you hold down command, no matter where you are on the iPad, it will show you the shortcuts for that page. Whether you're on the home screen, whether you're in your emails, whether you're in notes, or if you're in a DAW. I actually use the shortcuts quite a lot for video editing because I edit all my videos for YouTube on iPad. For the past 5 years, I've been using LumaFusion, and I'm now moving over to DaVinci Resolve. What a learning curve that is, but hopefully I'm getting there. Number 4 is a bit of a curveball, but it's making the iPad like a laptop. Now, you've probably heard this loads of different times, but actually putting a keyboard and trackpad on an iPad gives you that laptop feel and that real workstation experience. And the 5th one is actually less fatigue. If you're on an iPad and touching the screen, certainly for typing, your hands are elevated. Whereas if you've got a keyboard, it's more ergonomic. And with the trackpad, it's kind of the same, but you've got multi-gestures. So you can actually use the multi-gestures ergonomically without having to reach up and touch the screen itself. Having said that, of course, the iPad is a touchscreen device. It's touch first, and there are some great gestures on the iPad that you can use, but with the trackpad, a lot of them have been duplicated. If you're familiar with Mac, there's a couple of gestures on the Mac that seamlessly transition over to iPad trackpad as well. Things like 3-finger swipe up will get you home. There's also a couple of buttons on these keyboards that are dedicated to iPad use. So they're my 5 tips and reasons why you need a keyboard. So let's choose one. Let's start with this one. This is the Magnetic Case 360, which is a keyboard and a trackpad, and also a back case by ESR. ESR have kind of come into the market for the past couple of years by changing the game and doing things slightly differently. Now the big one with this is part of the Rebound series. This is a Bluetooth keyboard with a detachable back case and multiple viewing angles. And we'll get into that in a second because it's not what you think. So it has a protective case, and then that case is detachable from the main keyboard array. The keyboard itself is Bluetooth, so it doesn't actually get powered by the iPad. You have to charge the keyboard separately. So this is it, and as I say, I've been using it for a little while. The iPad's not in it at the moment. You've got magnets everywhere. To start off with, you can see actually the size of it, and you've got this flap on the top here. So you've got this magnetic flap, and just make sure you guys can see that there. And that's also so you can hold the pencil, and the pencil sits there. And then as I open this up, you can see you've got your separate case, which you can take off, and you've also got the keyboard. The keyboard itself is, as I said, Bluetooth, so you have to power it. There is actually a USB-C connection there. The keyboard and the case are separate, so with magnets, pretty strong magnets to be fair, then you can actually connect this. But also, you can put this in not just this position, but we could actually turn it round, so we can have the iPad in this position and it locks in place. You see that? So you could have it in the portrait mode. So if you're using things like Tracks or you're using an app that's in portrait mode, this is great. The other thing that's on their website is you can actually have it higher than where it normally locks into place. So for example, I can put it here and you can raise it up quite high, which is great for obviously ergonomics. Now this is what it means by multiple viewing angles. There's only really one angle and you can go about as far as here, and that's about it. You could obviously have it there, but if you've got it on the table, you've got it about that angle. I think it's around about 125. And the keyboard itself is really, really cool because it also lights up. It's a backlit and it's got multiple RGBs, so you can have any color you want pretty much. And you've got this trackpad, which is a multi-touch trackpad. Now when I picked it up for £110. When you put that against the market, this is one of the cheapest ones you can get. There are cheaper ones out there, don't get me wrong, but this is one of the cheapest ones that does what I want it to do, which is detach and still have some kind of protective case. I want to make sure that my iPad's covered all the way around the edges. So that one is pretty cool. And then the other one is this. This is the Logitech Combo Touch. Logitech have been making keyboard cases for iPad for years, and they even sell them in things like the Apple stores. So these are kind of renowned for being a good alternative. So when you look at this, this actually is a case that the keyboard detaches, and then it's magnetic, and then it connects through a smart connector that's just there. And then this actually uses the smart connector system of the iPad. So the keyboard is actually powered by the iPad. You don't have to have a separate battery, so it's way thinner. You've got this protective case all around it. There is a full cutout for the pencil, and then the case itself actually has a kickstand. So you can kickstand it back pretty much any angle you want, as much as you want, but also it's not elevated. So it's not actually as high as the ESR. The other thing about the ESR, of course, is it's a Bluetooth keyboard. So technically it's a wireless keyboard with a case. This is a connected keyboard. So therefore, if I detach it, I can't use it that way round. It's got to be connected to those connectors at the bottom. You can only use it in a landscape orientation. Having said that though, you can adjust this pretty much any way you want to. And then also, the keys themselves are very different. Looking at the two keyboards, I've taken the cases off, by the way. So literally just the keyboard here and the keyboard here. Have a look at the difference of the size of that trackpad. That trackpad on the Logitech is massive. It's really, really huge, and that's a good thing, because if you're doing a lot of stuff where you want automation through your digital audio workstation, or you're moving faders, you want more real estate. So they've actually pushed the keyboard backwards, so you can see the top keys there. If I line them up beside each other, you can see the top keys are way further back than the ones on the ESR. On the ESR and also the Logitech, you've got dedicated keys at the top, everything from going home right through to keyboard brightness. They are both backlit display keyboards, which is something I really, really want. The other thing as well is you can get to about here, and I can't get any further. I can't get any further back. And the trackpad is way smaller than the Logitech one. I've been using this for about a week and I haven't actually recharged it yet. So the keyboard itself with the backlight on works really, really well. I'm using it for a couple of hours pretty much every day. Using it for keyboard shortcuts, for video editing, but also for using it with digital audio workstations. The downside of the ESR is actually not the keyboard, but its case. This case is really, really thin, and that's not a problem, but the thing is I can't use this on its own if I just want to watch Netflix, because it has no kickstand. It actually has nothing to stand it up against. It's just a case. You have to put it in here if you want it to stand up. It's great for a little bit of protection, and that's fine, but if I want to stand it up, I've got to use this keyboard with it or prop it up against something, and I kind of feel like that defeats the object. The upside of the Logitech one is it has a built-in kickstand, so I can use this completely separately on the days that I don't need a keyboard. The downside is I can only use it in this orientation with the keyboard, or I can of course stand it up if I want to, no problem, but it's pretty tall. It won't really lean back without it sort of falling over. And then the other thing as well, this is a full cutout for the pencil, whereas the ESR actually doesn't have that. It has a place for it, and then also a wraparound cover, so it protects the pencil as well. And it has little magnets around the edges, which I didn't realize until I started using it. And as you close it, there you go. It kind of closes and holds in place. When the iPad's in here, it's a little bit more sturdy, of course. But this is also metal on the back. The downside of this one is if you want to use it on your lap, it's actually really deep. So you have to have quite a large lap to be able to do that with, or have it kind of really, really tight there. If I hold this in, if I just hold this, the real estate of that is actually from here all the way back to wherever you have the kickstand. Whereas the actual real estate of the ESR is only from here to here. It only ever will be, but it can only go to a certain angle. I like the way the ESR folds up and protects itself with this pencil fold, or this fold over. The magnets on it are really, really strong, and that's a really good thing. But the other thing I wanted to show you was the thickness. It's almost double the size of the Logitech. This one comes in at £110, and it has some amazing features. This one is double the price, at around about £230. Which one am I keeping? It's going to be the Logitech Combo Touch, because of a couple of reasons. First of all, the thickness. It is literally half the weight. I don't have to charge it. It doesn't have a second battery that I need to charge or think about. I just plug it into the iPad and it works. The typing experience is much, much quieter, and I don't really care about multicolored backlit displays. I just want the keys to light up so I can see what I'm doing. The dedicated keys across the Logitech, I think, are more functional to what I need, including a dedicated do not disturb button. I like that one. Now I do like the height adjustment on the ESR, and also being able to use it in any configuration. But if you're looking for a dedicated device, this is why I'm going with the Logitech Combo Touch. And the reason, actually, the clincher for me was when I don't use the keyboard, ironically. So I want to keep the iPad safe and protected all around the sides. This seems to be a little bit thicker, but then it's got a kickstand. It's as simple as that. So I can use it when I want to watch Netflix or YouTube, or I just want it as a viewing platform. I don't have to have the keyboard attached to it. I can put that in my backpack and not use it. There's times when I use this with the Apple Pencil. I can put this at a much wider angle so I don't have to put it flat on the desk. That's why I wanted to test these two and see what the score was. Now, is it a fair test? This one is half the price of this one, and this comes in, as I said, £229. This one came in at £110 on Amazon, and I'm going to leave links to both of them underneath this video. If you click any of those links, of course, they are affiliated links which help out the channel, but at no expense to you. In fact, some of them will help you save some money too. And if you're already using a keyboard, then let me know in the comments section below which one you use and the reasons why. What feature is your favorite? And if you don't have a keyboard yet, do you think it would improve your workflow? Subscribe to the channel if you want to check out more, and I actually made a video series called From Idea to Release. It was all about getting an idea down, recording it, mixing it, mastering it, and then getting it out into the world, but using an iPad. It was a 5-video series, but I've made it into one massive video that's over 2 hours long, and that's the video that's just come up on screen. Go and check that out, go and enjoy it, and we'll see you on the next one.